you go bankrupt. And there's a penalty for bankruptcy. Your credit sucks. You're very difficult to get a loan. Very, very difficult for people to trust you again. You have to earn that trust back. And even then, it's always going to be a stain on your record.
It's absolutely, he needs money.
You think he's going
Once
broke?
again, come on. Fighters like that always go broke.
Yeah, he's stupid. He's an idiot. He loves the fame and he loves the money. So ultimately, if you're just that money hungry and that fame hungry, you're going to just do whatever. You don't care what it is.
Joe Rogan just destroyed Jake Paul, saying the lawsuits and fixed fight accusations have permanently stained his boxing resume. Critics argue Paul's flashy record looks hollow now, built on selective opponents and hype rather than legitimacy. Even if the cases fade, the perception won't. In combat sports, credibility is everything. And once fans doubt authenticity, wins stop mattering and records become footnotes instead of legacies. That stain lingers longer than any paycheck. Long.
Because there's a price that you pay that is not.
The hype around fake fight accusations exploded after the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua bout, with fans pointing to what they saw as strange patterns throughout the event. Many questioned how Jake managed to last longer against Joshua than Francis Ngannou did, despite the massive gap in experience and power. What was sold as a blockbuster clash between a social media star and a former unified heavyweight champion has sparked rampant speculation, from leaked training footage and unusual betting activity to outspoken commentators insisting the spectacle was more showbiz than sport.
From Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. What have we got here?
As I look at it, for the fans, it put boxing still on the map because it keeps boxing relevant. Having exhibition fights like this, different celebrities and different things like that. I look at it as a fun thing for fans and stuff like that. I don't really take it seriously, because we in the business of boxing. That right there is just exhibition stuff. But I'm hearing they say it's a real fight, but yeah, it's a real fight because both guys are getting in a fight. I'm still the one that be thinking certain things are scripted as well too. So, but we'll see. I always say may the best man win, and main thing about it, may those guys go in there and have a hell of.
Many commentators have described the pairing as absurd, noting the stark difference in experience, size, and pedigree between Paul and Joshua, with some labeling the event more spectacle than sport. A YouTuber turned boxer with a 12-1 record stepping into the ring with a former two-time world heavyweight champion who has fought elite competition throughout his career. Many commentators have described the pairing as lopsided, with Paul seen by some as a cash grab opponent rather than a valid challenge, further feeding speculation that the event is more spectacle than sport.
Jake Paul, fake Paul I call him, against Anthony Joshua. Massive unit, two-time world champ, still got a big punch. I think he's mentally fragile at world level if he goes against the big guns because of the knockout, especially the Dubois knockout when he got fucking splattered. You know what I mean? In round 5, and he got hurt early on and then he got done. And he's not been in the ring for 13 months.
Yeah.
But can you see a world in which Jake Paul is competitive in this fight?
No.
How do you see the fight going if AJ takes it serious?
Simon Jordan added even more fuel to the controversy by claiming that Anthony Joshua could have knocked out Jake Paul at any moment, but deliberately didn't. According to Jordan, the fight had to be stretched out to satisfy Netflix's expectations, not boxing's. He suggested that Joshua's power, experience, and timing were so far beyond Paul's level that a quick finish would have ruined the spectacle in the streaming numbers. Instead, the bout allegedly needed rounds, drama, and tension to justify the massive platform and global audience. While Jordan offered no proof, his comments echoed what many fans already believe, that when big money and streaming giants like Netflix are involved, entertainment value can quietly take priority over competitive reality, leaving viewers questioning how real the fight truly was.
Paul posted on Twitter after the fight, jaw broken, heart and balls intact. That's a good thing. Time to rest, recover, and return to cruiserweight. I mean, he's coming out of it as if, well, yeah, I got battered in the end, but boy.
That's what he will do. I mean, it depends what you think this was. I mean, I never felt it was anything other than entertainment. I'm not surprised that it... I mean, Anthony Joshua could have knocked Jake Paul out anytime he wanted to. He didn't want to.
So why didn't he?
Because, well, when you're on a platform like Netflix that turns one-part episodes into a 6-part series, why would you think that part of their entertainment model is to have a 30-second fight? Why? You watch a Netflix series, you can watch it and you can go, well, I get the gist of it. Why have you got to turn it into 10 episodes? Because I'm dying with boredom after episode.
Are you telling me that Netflix probably emphasised, listen, guys, take this as long as you can?
Anthony Joshua didn't step, irrespective. I sat to all these guys, whether it be Spencer or Paul Smith, talking about the fact that Jake Paul couldn't run, didn't have the footwork to be able to move.
After the fight, Ryan Garcia weighed in on social media with a blunt and provocative reaction that caught a lot of attention within the boxing world. Garcia tweeted that while he respected Paul's effort, he also made a sharp comparison involving Gervonta Davis, another high-profile boxer. In his tweet, Garcia wrote, "I think Gervonta would have done him worst," suggesting that Davis would have hit Paul harder or ended the fight even more decisively than Joshua did. Many experts agree with Garcia and believe this is not elite boxing. Even after the fight, criticism of the matchup continues, with some observers arguing that the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul bout should never have happened in the first place.
Fair play to Jake Paul. He has a lot of guts, and the fact that he wasn't carried out of this fight on a stretcher, certainly I guess you can say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. Again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight. This is not elite boxing. And we knew that coming in. But if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights, like the Mike Tyson fight from last year,
Adding to these concerns, Oscar De La Hoya commented on Jake Paul's previous matchup with Mike Tyson, suggesting that the fight was also fixed. He explained that Paul paid Tyson to secure a win on his record, and noted that many analysts observed Tyson holding back and not engaging with the same intensity expected of a professional bout. De La Hoya emphasized that this was not an isolated incident, implying a pattern of staged outcomes in Paul's career.
This fight was. I do believe it was scripted. What? And I believe that Tyson was certainly held back. What? Look, I'm a fighter and I can see it. It goes on the record and it was sanctioned. What? So Jake Paul paid to get the W on his record? Bruh. For what? For your own personal satisfaction? Bruh. I keep telling you, if you want to be a real fighter, like you say you want to be, what are you doing?
While Tyson has denied allegations of the fight being scripted, his performance left many fans disappointed, questioning whether this match should even be considered part of his official record. For someone of Tyson's caliber, the lack of fire in his approach was starkly noticeable, leaving a cloud of doubt over the fight's legitimacy.
Broke some news about how he spoke to one of the Paul brothers and that they had an agreement that no one was supposed to get severely injured and that the fight had to last at least through the 6th round. As I was watching the fight, I'm like, damn, it looked like Mike came out a little hot, and I saw him do this one thing where he kept biting his gloves. I know there was a big age discrepancy here, right? Jake Paul being 27, Mike Tyson being 58, of course. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, is he biting onto his glove to hold back? Because it looked like he had something there. Even some of the jabs Mike threw, I'm like, he stopped his punch. I'm not trying to be conspiracy theorist here, but thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't know if Mike completely exerted himself or he just got really tired.
I don't know about it being rigged or not, but I do feel bad for people who really are invested in the sport.
You want to know why I also think it might be a bit rigged? When the fight ended, Jake Paul kept calling out other fighters and he kept referencing, you guys need me. You guys need me. And I'm realizing he's meaning his money. So if boxers and people in the industry know that, hey, if we go get with Jake Paul, we'll make X.
During the Jake versus Tyson fight, many critics highlighted unusual rules that seemingly favored Jake. Notably, a clause allegedly penalized Tyson financially if he knocked Paul out early. This raised concerns about whether the fight's outcome was influenced by contractual stipulations rather than competitive spirit.
Y'all already know I'm mad about this fight. I really wasn't even going to talk about it because I already felt like it was a setup. But when Trick Daddy Dollars posted this on Instagram, it really just confirmed and solidified everything. So, Trick Daddy Dollars posted this on Instagram, and I'm going to read it to social media. So, it says the rules for the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight are designed to favor Jake Paul. These include: the rules are extremely favorable to Jake Paul. The contract will incentivize Mike Tyson to lose and give Jake Paul an opportunity to choose himself as a winner. The first stipulation in the contract will punish Tyson for knocking out Jake because he is paid on a sliding scale per round. If Tyson knocks Jake out in the first round, he would receive no money. If he knocks him out in the second round, he would only make a small amount of cash. For Tyson to make the most money, he needs to survive all 8 rounds, which means avoiding knocking Jake Paul out. If the fight goes to a split decision, it favors Jake Paul because the judges have to be approved by Jake Paul. I'm going to let y'all read that. I knew it was a setup. Because you know what? Mike Tyson had a lot of open air opportunity to smash Jake Paul. And he didn't do it.
David Haye offered a further perspective, suggesting that Paul might underestimate the challenge of facing a true elite fighter. Haye noted that Paul could be relying on his previous experiences with allegedly scripted fights to believe he can navigate Joshua without difficulty. However, Joshua has reportedly refused any scripted arrangements, insisting that the bout will proceed as a genuine contest. Haye pointed out that this reality poses a significant challenge for Paul, as he now faces a legitimate and highly skilled opponent, rather than one who might accommodate him for financial gain or publicity.
Are going to go into this fight with Jake Paul with the same mindset after seeing him fight on a beat on points a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. My opinion is no. I think he feels zero fear in this fight. He's in a unique situation where he's going into a boxing ring with someone he doesn't believe deserves to be there. So is he going to be paying the price in training? Is he going to be getting those early nights? Is he going to be pushing himself in sparring to get the very best out of himself, like he did for the Ngannou fight? Unknown. I don't know. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll want to risk having any hard sparring just in case he gets injured. Because if he gets injured, he misses this $75 million payday against someone he doesn't believe will be good enough to be a legitimate sparring partner for him. You know what I mean? So it's a very unusual situation, very, very unusual. And, you know, obviously all the advantages are in Anthony Joshua's favor, except this one, except the mindset factor. Jake Paul has nothing to lose. He's got everything to gain. Him reaching round 3, round 4 is a win. in my opinion, and in many people's opinion, if Anthony Joshua doesn't detonate his right hand or a jab off of Jake Paul in the first 30 seconds, minute, and put him in problems, some people would feel that he's underachieved or he let boxing down. People don't consider Jake Paul a real boxer because he's got such a big profile on social media and he's got that background that he's come from. But he's dedicated himself to the sport.
While fighting critics like Chael Sonnen delivers a brutally honest assessment of Jake Paul's fights, leaving no room for sugarcoating. He points out that when evaluating Jake Paul, there's simply no comparison to Anthony Joshua. Despite all the training clips circulating online, Jake still appears more like a student than a contender. Chael emphasizes that the footage only highlights his inexperience, revealing someone still figuring out fundamentals rather than preparing to face a seasoned former heavyweight champion. According to Sonnen, the gap in skill, power, and ring awareness is glaring, making it clear that Jake is far from ready to handle a fighter of Joshua's caliber.
Because people do this all the time. They'll be real dicks about it. Some guy will look great on the mitts. They'll go, well, the mitts doesn't count. It's like, well, it kind of does count. If I have you working out on the mitts from a year ago, and I have a new tape today, and I can juxtapose those, I actually can see some timing. I actually can see some speed. I actually can see some footwork. I can see some power, and I can compare it. Now, Jake is in a wildly difficult spot. Boxing is unlike, by example, track and field. Track and field is all about personal records. You do not need to be faster than the guy standing next to you. Right? Now, you can win and you can get trophies on that, but it's not actually your goal that your coach is working on you with. You just today want to be faster, throw further, jump higher than a previous version of yourself. Boxing doesn't work that way. It is straight. It doesn't matter how good you are. It is 100% comparative to how good is this guy. I understand that. But as human beings, we have to start somewhere. And I think there are many things that are going to be wins for Jake. I do not subscribe to the idea. Now, he does. He will not agree with me, but an older version of himself, as he looks back, will see that Chael makes a very fair point. There's a number of things that are going to be wins or not for Jake. Now, Joshua's got one. Crush that man, get your hand raised. That's it. Well, I don't see it like that for Jake. I don't see it like that. And I know you guys don't either. I know you don't, because so many people that are predicting this fight won't even happen. Or that are predicting if this fight happens, these guys are going to be nice to each other. What does this word exhibition mean? Right? There's all these things where you're trying to take away, and you're not necessarily wrong. If Jake shows up for this fight,
Despite all the controversies, people are putting real money on this fight, and the betting action itself has become part of the controversy around the Paul versus Joshua event. Fans, casual betterers, and even some well-known personalities have been actively wagering on outcomes, which is adding fuel to the ongoing debate about whether the matchup is a legitimate sporting contest or a spectacle. However, Rogan reacted to Jake Paul getting knocked out by Anthony Joshua by giving unexpected credit where it was due. Rogan said it was genuinely impressive that Jake managed to survive 6 full rounds with a proven heavyweight monster like Joshua. He pointed out that most critics forget the massive gap in experience, power, and ring IQ between a YouTuber turned boxer and a former world champion. While the knockout was inevitable, Rogan emphasized that lasting that long showed toughness, discipline, and real conditioning, even if it didn't erase the skill difference.
That guy did great for someone who's been boxing for like less than a decade. He has had no real professional opponents other than Tommy Fury that were legitimate world-class boxers.
I don't even remember what happened in the Tommy.
He lost a close decision, but it was a good fight. It was a good fight, though. He's a good boxer. If he wasn't a YouTuber, people would be way more impressed with him.
Yeah.
The problem is he was like a famous kid, and then no one took him seriously.
Yeah.
But
and then he started too with like more spectacle-ish fights. People were like, "Oh, this is you." He fought, Nate Robinson, like a basketball player.
But the thing is, he knocked Nate Robinson.
He knocked him the fuck out,
and
yeah.
it's the way he did it that I was trying to tell people. I'm like, no, that was skillful. So like, there's like boxing matches where you see two guys just slugging it out. One guy lands a punch, and he landed a good punch. What Jake did is he slid back and landed a punch.
Yeah.
It's like the athleticism along with the intelligence, the technique. I'm like, he's not even doing it that long. And he's also hyper competitive, even though he's wealthy.
Yeah.
Like you would assume that wealth would take away your drive for
But
competition.
It hasn't, yeah.
He's also nuts, right? Just the fact that he's willing to fight the two-time heavyweight champion, former Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
A guy who's gigantic in his prime, built like a Greek god.
Yeah.
And you're going to stand, and he's a one-punch killer. And you're going to stand in front of that guy, and he avoided shots till the 6th round. He just started getting tired.
Yeah, his movement in that fight was crazy.
It was very good.
Yeah.
It was very good.
He was really keeping him moving around the whole ring, and then
you can't afford to get tired. And that's the thing is, like, he gets tired in a lot of his fights in the later rounds. You should really sort that out. Because if he had a much bigger gas tank, like if he was training with like some of these elite world-class strength and conditioning coaches and just worked on his cardio, he'd be beating way more guys.
You think so?
Rogan acknowledged that Paul showed toughness in the fight, but he warned that taking shots like the one that fractured his jaw in 2 places can lead to long-term harm and isn't worth repeating. He stressed that the physical and psychological toll in combat sports often outweighs the money and fame, urging Paul to think about his future health rather than chasing bigger fights. Rogan reminded him that there's a price you pay with repeated damage, including potential brain imbalance and depression, and encouraged him to consider an early retirement instead of risking more injuries.
Hit with a bomb, breaks his jaw in 2 places. The thing is, I would hope that he recognizes is right now he's doing great and he's only, whatever he is, 28. There's a price that you pay that is not worth it. And that price is a severe brain imbalance that's going to lead you to addiction. That was real damage. The inside of your head. There's a lot of damage going on in there too. If he doesn't have your respect after that fight, that guy did great for someone who's been boxing for like less than a decade.
Do you think Jake Paul's fights are really scripted, or is it all hype? Drop your thoughts in the comments.